For over half a century, the Raging Bull has meant two things: outrageous design and absolutely uncompromising power. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're tracing the breathtaking, uninterrupted evolution of Lamborghini's flagship V12 supercars. We're going to see exactly how that extreme DNA survived, and really, how it thrived across 5 decades of massive technological change. Let's get right into it.
Here's how we're breaking down this generational journey. First up, the Countach revolution. Second, the Murcielago and the Audi era. Third, we'll look at the Aventador's precision engineering. And finally, the Rivuelto, Lamborghini's new hybrid beast. You know, whether we're talking about raw mechanical beasts from the 70s or today's digital hybrid hypercars, that golden bull on the badge has always promised one thing: absolute extreme performance. So we're going to uncover exactly how Lamborghini adapted to modern engineering constraints without ever losing that dramatic, rebellious soul we all love.
All right, Section 1. The Countach Revolution, redefining supercars.
So, we have to start with a car that literally forced people to invent a new word for astonishment. When the original LP400 launched, it brought this wild reverse-mounted 4.0-liter V12 engine pumping out 375 brake horsepower. And chief engineer Paolo Stanzani did something brilliant here. He cleverly placed the transmission in front of the engine, right between the seats. That revolutionary layout, it literally created the template for modern mid-engine supercars as we know them.
Now, I found this little detail super fascinating. Unlike most Lamborghinis, the Countach isn't actually named after a fighting bull. Legend has it that designer Nuccio Bertone exclaimed the word Countach, which is an expression of sheer astonishment in the Piedmontese dialect, when he first laid eyes on Marcello Gandini's radical wedge-shaped design. It just stuck.
And honestly, nothing illustrates the totally untamed nature of this era better than this next fact. That famous V-shaped rear wing on the Countach, it was purely cosmetic. Factory testing actually proved it reduced the car's top speed by adding drag. But, customers absolutely demanded the visual drama, so to get around homologization rules, Lamborghini literally installed these wings in the factory parking lot after the cars had already rolled off the production line. Incredible, right?
Looking at its remarkable 16-year run, the car just kept evolving. It started with the pure architectural beauty of the 1974 LP400, then shifted to the wider LP400S with those massive tires. Eventually, it gained a muscular 455 horsepower engine in the 5000 QV, and finally culminated in Horacio Pagani's heavily revised 25th Anniversary Edition in 1988.
Moving on to Section 2, Murcielago, the Audi era, refined brutality.
By 2001, the automotive landscape had completely changed. Audi had acquired Lamborghini, and they introduced the world to the mighty Murcielago. Now, they kept their naturally aspirated V12 alive, but they pushed it to a staggering 670 horsepower in the final Super Veloce model. And man, that thing revved all the way out to 8,000 RPM.
A lot of purists were terrified that Audi's executives would just water down the extreme Lamborghini brand. But honestly, the Audi effect was exactly what the brand needed. They infused it with rigorous quality testing and modern mechanics. They moved from those ancient 5-speed manuals to a snappy 6-speed automated e-gear transmission. And they did all this without losing a single ounce of that fly-by-the-seat-of-your-pants driving experience.
Over its decade of production, the Murcielago saw relentless updates. It ultimately peaked with the 2009 LP674 Superveloce. That beast shed over 220 pounds through extensive use of carbon fiber, cranked up the horsepower, and was hailed by the automotive press as the best driving Lamborghini produced up to that point.
All right, Section 3, Aventure, precision, aerospace inspired.
As we hit 2011, the game completely changed once again with the Aventure. It featured a design language mimicking the world's most agile fighter jets. But underneath that aggressive exterior was an all-new, high-revving 6.5-liter V12, generating a massive 700 horsepower. It set a completely new benchmark, boasting a weight-to-power ratio of just 2.25 kilograms per horsepower.
To manage all that brutal power, the engineers totally rethought the chassis. They utilized a highly sophisticated F1-inspired pushrod suspension and an electronically controlled all-wheel drive system just to keep the car glued to the tarmac. They also brought in an independent shifting rods gearbox. Now, this was actually lighter than a dual-clutch setup, and it guaranteed these incredibly visceral gear shifts in just 50 milliseconds. This extreme dedication to lightweight engineering is really best highlighted by the chassis itself. The Aventur's entire carbon fiber monocoque occupant cell weighs a mere 147.5 kilograms. That incredibly low weight, paired with super high torsional stiffness, is exactly why the Aventur could hit 62 miles per hour in a mind-bending 2.9 seconds.
Moving to Section 4, Revuelto, Hybrid Beast, Electrified Power. Fast forward to today. With the automotive world shifting so rapidly towards strict emission standards, Lamborghini flat out refused to let the V12 die. Enter the Revuelto. This is their very first high-performance electrified vehicle. It keeps the naturally aspirated V12 screaming, but it augments it with electric power to finally shatter the 1,000 horsepower barrier. 1,001 horsepower combined. Just let that sink in.
And because of this hybrid system, the Revuelto is remarkably adaptable. You can actually drive silently through the city, emitting zero emissions, in pure electric Cheetah mode. But then, when you hit the track, you just dial it all the way up to Corsa mode, unleashing all 1,001 horses and the full fury of that V12. It's honestly incredible how they packaged all this. By strategically placing 2 electric motors at the front wheels, 1 at the rear, and tucking a compact battery right into the central tunnel, they perfectly optimized the weight distribution. They enhanced the cornering traction of the all-wheel drive system without sacrificing a single bit of that signature V12 roar we all crave. Finally, Section 5, Enduring V12 Legacy, a Linear Lineage.
Looking back across the last 50 years of this explainer, we see a really clear linear lineage. Despite oil crisis, constantly changing regulations, and corporate buyouts, Lamborghini has maintained an uncompromising vision. From the strikingly pure lines of the Contact all the way to the electrified hyper-performance of the Revuelto, the Raging Bull remains, without a doubt, a sculpted statement of speed.
Which leaves us with a fascinating final thought to take away. Now that they've successfully merged the emotional, screaming V12 engine with cutting-edge electrification to break the 1,000 horsepower barrier, what impossible limits will Lamborghini shatter next? I mean, how do you even begin to improve on 1,001 horsepower? Thanks for exploring this incredible automotive lineage with me. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.